Okay, so I really tried to get back into just regular painting and not using this to be processed through my artwork. And here's an example of, I know this is going to sound weird now, but there was a time in my history, maybe a lot of years, that not everybody had a cell phone in their hands, but some people did. And some people were looking at them. I liked the way it lit up their faces at night. It was unusual. And it was the young people that had all the cell phones. So I did a whole series called Connect, and cell phones was the inspiration. And I was thrilled about that because, you know, it's not about cancer, it's just about life. And that was a great series for me. But then I did the watercolors, which some of that series are here, and they were very much inspired by Manzanita. I don't know if Lucy Brooks is here, but she some of the older generation of gals, now I know what you old hippie gals do down here, took me with them up in the woods to follow the waterfalls and creek walk, following the sun all the way down. Maybe this is what you all do, I don't know, but it was new to me and I loved it, and that celebrates it. So I use that as a lot of my inspiration. But when I did a painting like this, that she's walking towards this dangerous, whatever it is, waterfalls, I knew I hadn't got it out of my system yet. So I just kind of gave in, and I did this, I'm so off my notes here, but this is called Visual Code, and it's this is mine. These are a couple other artists. One was just here, but she had to go with her dog. But anyway, this kind of documents my cancer journey, and I just thought, you know, I'm going to just symbolically give it a visual representation, and maybe I'll get it out of my system. So you can sort of see how this goes on the wall as ups and downs of the journey very much. And now I will show you the individual ones and talk about them a little bit. This first one starts at a personal level, you know, kind of under the waterfall, you're in it, and then how maybe your higher self or some other aspect coming from somewhere is kind of there with you, kind of whispering in your ear, go this way. So that's the first one. The second one, just getting taken up into the journey. And for me, it was really interesting because, and I've heard that this happens, and I want to just walk you through a little bit. I'll just pause on here a minute to tell you. The first shout out about telling you being caught up in the waterfall goes out to Dr. Edgar Mitchell, you know, one of the first astronauts that went to the moon with Neil Armstrong. And I love Dr. Mitchell because he saw the Earth and that beautiful blue ball coming back, and he had a spiritual epiphany, and he dedicated pretty much the rest of his life of using, you know, inspiring his smart scientific friends to do scientific tests that prove some of the quantum physics that prove things like subtle energy and intention. And you probably, culturally, it panned out for things like the movie What the Bleep and The Secret and things that we all know, you know, are more commonly thought about. But it was new right before I got cancer. And they had this great magazine, Noetic Sciences is the name of the organization. Probably some of you guys belong to it. I love Noetic Sciences for all that research they did and are still doing, and have big conferences every year. But anyway, I got into it more because their magazine that they used contemporary artists to illustrate it. People like Francisco Clemini, and you could see their work that you normally wouldn't even see in art magazines. So I loved it, and I read it all, and I was really kind of primed. You know, when I heard my diagnosis, I thought, okay, if I really do believe in intention could work, then one of the tenets is do not let, and I'll tell you all this for any hard thing you ever want to do not let fear get in your way. Just put fear aside. It's going to control you. It's not going to let you do it. You just, you go with the intelligence of all the internet research you did. You just look into it really well, and you try to figure out the path. But you'll know the path is working is when you get into the stream of it, all the doors start opening. Well, you can't imagine the weird things that would happen, so that we made contact with the doctor the one time that he was going to call me to see if I was a good candidate. A UPS truck blocked the exit to our neighborhood. That never, ever has happened, ever. If we know the UPS driver, he's really good. He zips that car around, or the big truck, like nothing. You know, it's never been blocked. But I couldn't leave the neighborhood to make a doctor's appointment, so I had to be there when the call came. And if I hadn't got the call, you know, that's just an example. They're all in the book. But, you know, those doors just kept opening. And then I began to think about Jonah, and God, maybe I really do need to go to Nineveh. So this kind of represents the stream that I got caught up in, and it's just like one thing leading to another, and I just kept going with it. Although I have to say that I often felt like I was in a boat. See the pink, you know, the breast cancer pink color. But I, you know, in a boat by myself, whereas the medical world had all these rowers that were going in different directions and confusing me, and I just want to stay in my boat and go my direction. Here she's kind of looking over at them. What are you doing? And then a very difficult time came for Dr. Littrop that, I won't go into the story, it's in the book if you want, but he couldn't offer cryoablation to the women, and now women are coming to my site, and they've been taken up by my story, and they want to get it done. Where in the world can they get it done? Well, the only place, Dr. Littrop had been set by the UN around the world, and cryoablation really took off in China, and you know, they've been working for thousands of years with the immune system. It made so much sense to them. There's a beautiful hospital called Fuda Hospital in Guangzhou, China, in southern China, that, you know, now they're, you know, tens of thousands of operations. Then they, you know, thousands of women had gone and had it there. But, you know, I know their top surgeon, and his first gal was also in 2003, but I beat her by a couple months, so I probably am the first one. When I went there the first time, I got a standing ovation, so that was cool. But anyway, Fuda Hospital, I knew, was the only place that could be done. And so I had to, African-American women that were coming to the site would say, look, you know, African-American women aren't going to listen to you. They need another blackface. Now, that's not true so much anymore, but some of the first ones told me that, and they said, I want to be the first black Laura. And so, you know, I tried to find, but there was no place. Dr. Littrop had closed his thing down, and so I knew no American woman that's bucking the system is ever going to go to China and get treated in a foreign land. They're really going to have to know another American woman that went to check them out, and I guess I got to do it. So my son Louis, who's here, you can give him a hug for this afterwards, I called him up. It was like, what, 3 weeks before Christmas or something. I said, hey Louis, do you want to go to China with me? And you know, in my what you Christmas, you know, but there was a Canadian woman that said, you know, she called me and said, I'm going to China. And I said, oh my God, you're the first woman doing it. Can I cover your story in our website? And she said, oh, I want you to come with me. And I'm going, I can't come at Christmas. I mean, and she says, okay, I'll be there. I'll save a bed for you. You please come. So I said, you know, okay, I'm just going to put out a fundraiser. And he's the tech guy. And I said, Louis, let's just do this. I went for a walk with me in the morning. I said, can you throw out a GoFundMe? And by this afternoon, you know, if we get anything, if it even gets traction, maybe we'll think about it, but it probably won't, so then we'll know we're not supposed to go. Well, we got the stinking money, and then of course, money for one, my husband didn't want me to go alone, so he you know, sweetly coughed up our Christmas money to send me. But we went to Fuda, and they happened to be having their first international, I mean, all those doors opening, it was so weird. So then, since then, I've been to Fuda 4 times. Alex and I have been treated there with immunotherapy, and they've had me back twice to speak at their international conferences on their dime, and they're very generous. The one thing I ask is, can I go look at your contemporary art, particularly the ink painting, and they have done that, both ancient and contemporary, and I just love them for it. So anyway, my China girls are my heroes. I'm going down to LA to see one in a couple weeks, and you know, here they are holding their breasts, and their energy, red is the energy. It's not blood for me, it's energy. It's a really Chinese color, you see it a lot. Their energy's kind of coming down and washing through these bigger, you know, the older gal's hair all the way down. My goal is to have this universally out, covered by insurance, so that my daughter and about to be daughter-in-law's generation, you know, their doctor tells them about it. Hey, you know, here's your options, and one of them for breast conservation, and it's a pretty non-morbid thing, is freezing. Are you interested? You know, and that's my goal. And so this kind of talks about that. Here's another, you know, I mean, we're not there yet, so we get a second pink boat. And then here, she's going into the waters. But up here, I don't know if you can see them, but on the women climbing down this, there's a lot of other patient pioneers. I won't go into all their stories, a lot of them are in the book, that I just, oh my God, some of these women that follow my footsteps, it was not easy for them. You know, they're going out of system, they're raising money, you know, they're treated like a criminal in their own hospitals. It's really, they went through a lot. But there was a lot of them, and you can see these marks on them. And they're following this woman going into the water, and so that's what this one's about. And then also, I think the Olympics might have been on when I did this, so there's a lot of underwater things on the television. I also was very aware, it's not ubiquitously, anyway, it's not universally out there for everyone yet, and so many friends or friends of friends were still going through breast cancer, and I realized, you know what? Everybody has their own journey. They all do it their own way, and they do it within their comfort level, and it's a big deal to them. And I just wanted to honor that all the women that have to go through it, whatever they've been through something, and it's tough, and we all need to support them. And maybe I chose this, but my way, but I want to honor anyone that's been up against this foe, because it's a nasty foe. And anybody that's just done their best to beat it, bless their heart. So that's, you know, it's a circle, you know, we all kind of flow into each other here. So, all right. And so then just across, and I did this in chakra order, you know, I'm into symbols, as I've told you, and I'm into spheres, I'm into hands and gestures. So these hand gestures are either nurturing or, you know, stop, don't take it, you know. So I'll just go through these in their colored order. And they kind of anchored this piece. Okay, now, because I know some of you guys are artists, and I just wanted to finish on the technical aspect, I really fell in love with the ink paintings when I was in China, and I really wanted to do them. So came back here to Manzanita, because it was summer, last time I was there, and took a class here at the Hoffman Center in this very room from Cindy Lamason on Sumi ink painting, and she gave, you know, as part of the workshop, she gave me an old brush that had been cut, which is a wabi-sabi technique, because then you can get some of your line, just a single hair, or you can push and get a broad stroke. So I learned it right in this very room, and then I'm painting here with my artist friends, and we're hiring models down in Nahala. So most of the stuff out there has been done here. And I did it on mineral paper, and I'm teaching a workshop at the end of the month on mineral paper. Mineral paper is well, it's marble and other ground up minerals held together with the binder. So it's very archival. And I love it because you can paint with watercolor ink on it, and then you can paint over that with oil, and it's archival. So these were done, and I'll show you a lot of these techniques if you have the workshop. Anyway, I wanted a relatively cheap presentation, affordable. So I did a kind of Chinese style of adhering the mineral paper drawing to rice paper and hanging it as a scroll. Well, the first time this was up for any kind of curatorial look-see, it was looked at by some curators down at the Jordan Schnitzer Museum Art in Eugene, and they did a beautiful show last spring called Visual Magic, of artists that had come of age and started their career in the late 60s, early 70s. Well, I show it, you know, they said, what do you got? I showed them a bunch of stuff. I threw this in thinking this was the last thing they'd take, and this was their favorite thing, and they said, so unusual, we have nothing like it, and well, I'll frame it. No, we like it that way. So it was, kind of gave me, you know, the pat on the back, like, okay, maybe this thing at the Hoffman this summer will work, and I can present them a scroll, because I wanted them to be affordable. So I just wanted to tell you that story, because this, the way I've done it now, has official curatorial sanctioning, and you can see, this is some wet into wet, and these will be techniques I'm teaching, but the mineral paper really takes it awesomely. And this is, I'm working with iridescence now, this is gold, and this chop came from China, it's on jade, and that's my name in Chinese, and you can see Laura Ross Paul. They made me those chops in China, and I love it. And I use them on all these scrolls. If you think that they're real expensive, just remember it's a fundraiser. 30% goes here to the Hoffman, and we have started a nonprofit BFF, Breast Freeze Foundation. BFF, some people use it for Best Friends Forever too, so that's cool plain words. Anyway, the goal is to do two things, and you can read about it in the brochure, but our goal is to put breast conservation on the table, just have it in the conversation, take fear out of breast cancer treatment. This is very non-morbid. I never needed more than a Tylenol. The recovery time's a lot quicker, you know. And then finally, until insurance and codes are available, help women that want to do it be able to pay for it. So that's what your money, I'm just donating, all, not on the oil paintings, which Mary Roberts talked me into showing here too, but on all the scrolls, I'm just donating all the money. So if you think they're too expensive, it's going to a good cause. If you think they're too cheap, well, you're welcome to a good cause, but you're welcome to pay more if you'd like to get it. So anyway, I'm going to look, let me just look and see if there's anything I left out. I really, I think I kind of covered it all, but I hope you see, I'm hoping to do other iterations of similar things in other art centers. Next I'm looking at, oh, wait.